Hi guys, welcome back to another episode of Things I Like. My name is Claire and I make art, I make music. This is my music YouTube channel and I'm also currently unemployed. So if you know of any jobs that are hiring in the Santa Clarita and San Fernando valleys, hit me up. Um, I also make a magazine. I released volume 6 of Callier and Friends very recently and I'd really appreciate it if you guys bought a physical copy. So yeah, that's my intro. But today we're going to be talking about more artists and musicians, well, bands and artists that I really like. I did make a similar video about this like a few months ago. I posted that video 10 months ago, so it's been closer to a year than a few months, but you know what I mean. Talking about just random local bands and some miscellaneous like Norwegian bands that I listen to. But today I wanted to be a little more general, I guess. But as I was typing out the names, I kind of realized that half of the names that I'm going to be covering are from Eurovision and then some random ones. So enjoy. Also, you might be noticing a little change in my background. I'm still in my room, it's just that my mom kind of reorganized the layout of my room. So I have more space to sort of set up the camera. So that's why I'm on the bed for today. And that's why my wall looks like this. But yeah, onto the video. I've been sort of keeping up with Eurovision since 2024 when the whole Jos Klein disqualification thing happened, and that went viral on TikTok. And I'm an American, so it's kind of weird for me to be immersing myself in this kind of stuff, I know. But I've always really liked listening to music in other languages, and so Eurovision was like kind of perfect for me in a way because I get to listen to all these bands from all these different countries and they kind of have their own influences from all around the world. So the four bands that I have here are Ziferblat from Ukraine, Katarsis from Lithuania, NAPA from Portugal, and Joker Out from Slovenia. And the first three are from this year's edition of Eurovision, and Joker Out performed in 2023, 2 years ago. Just to clarify, I don't freak with the EBU. I think maybe you could tell from the fact that I'm a very big Jos Klein fan, but I don't want you guys to think that I'm an EBU fan. I just happen to like a lot of the artists that come out of Eurovision. So I wanted to start with Ziferblat. Their song "Bird of Prey" is always getting stuck in my head, um, but I didn't actually like go into their music like as thoroughly until like fairly recently. Um, Bird of Prey is probably my favorite, but I also really like their song Disco Funko Therapy and all the stuff from their new album I'm a pretty big fan of, and I think their outfits are really cool. I do want to say that. But I really like their performance at Eurovision. I mean, that's why I'm talking about them. But yeah, that's Ziferblat. Highly recommend their music if you're into that sort of indie rock, prog rock. I don't know, but fun music. The next band I want to talk about is probably my favorite band that I've found through Eurovision, like ever, but very much this year, and that's Katarsis, or Katarsis. I forget where the sort of accent goes, or the emphasis in the syllables, but I digress. Um, I found them through their song Tavoakis, which was their um, entry for Eurovision this year, and it's so good. I can't stop playing it on the guitar. I actually learned it and learned all the words. So I've been singing that all the time, and it's been really annoying for my friends, I think, but I can't stop because I really like the song. And they also have they have a lot of good songs. I like their Balta Mila cover, pronunciation, sorry, but it was a Lemon Joy cover, I think is the original band, but I really like their cover. It's very loud, kind of dramatic, I guess, but I really like that sound. And yeah, there's just so much good music from them. A lot of songs, I can't pronounce their names very well, but I would highly recommend checking out their discography because I really like it, and I think maybe you'll really like it if you're into sort of like post-punk shoegaze, that kind of music. But that's Katarsis. I also want to talk about NAPA. They are from Portugal, and their entry for Eurovision was Deslocado, and that translates to displaced, I think. Um, this is another song where I also learned how to play it on guitar, or at least the chords, and learn the lyrics. Um, I've been singing that a lot. Sorry to my friends on Instagram and TikTok who keep seeing me play the same song over and over and over again. But it's a really good song, and I really love their. They have two albums, if I recall correctly, and I really like both of those albums. I was I use them to go to sleep sometimes, and it's just that sort of indie rock, indie pop kind of feel, and their music kind of reminds me of when I was first getting into music in middle school, and I was really into indie rock. Still am, but it kind of takes me back, even though I've never listened to them before. And if you like, maybe I guess like Boy Pablo, maybe Arctic Monkeys, Mac DeMarco, things like that, I think you would really like Napa. And just I can't get enough of their music, and I hope they release more because I'm a very big fan. And my last band that I'm going to talk about from this section is Joker Out. They're Slovenian, and their song Carpe Diem was in the 2023 Eurovision, and I think they placed kind of low if I recall correctly, and I think that's really sad because it's a really good song. I'm a really big fan. Just it's very like indie pop, indie rock, but it really has that sort of poppy sound that I love. I love pop music. Um, I don't know if you can tell in my music like that sort of influence, but I love me a catchy tune, and I love Joker Out. Um, I haven't gotten into their music as much as I would like to yet, but I definitely will be listening to their music more because I've heard about them like in the past, kind of, but I really started listening to at least their Eurovision entry because people were comparing the singer of Katarsis to the singer of this band of Joker Out and saying that Lucas from Katarsis is like the emo version of Boyan, and I thought that was kind of funny. But I was like, let me check out the music, and I think the two bands are pretty different in terms of their sound, but there are two different sounds that I really enjoy. So I love Joker Out. I need to check out their music more, and I think you guys should check out their music too. And now on to my next section. I wanted to start off with Scarlet Ray. Um, I've been listening to her music for maybe a year and a half. I found her through TikTok because she posts a lot of like acoustic demos of her songs that she ends up releasing on streaming platforms. And I really like those acoustic demos because I kind of do the same thing on my social media, especially on this YouTube channel. So I kind of relate to her. But she's also like inspired me into getting more into playing seal string because if you watch my YouTube videos or my TikToks or Instagram videos or whatever, I play a lot on my classical guitar on my nylon string, and I really like that guitar. I have it for a reason, but it has a different sound. Like it's a lot softer and kind of quieter than the steel string acoustic guitar, which is my dad's, and it's kind of big, so I kind of don't use it as often as I would like to. But I don't want to buy a new one because guitars are expensive. But yeah, I really want to get more into playing steel string so I can be like Scarlet Ray. And she released a new song very recently, like a couple days ago as I'm recording this, and it's called The Reason I Could Sleep Forever. And that song hit me like a truck. It's really sad. All of her music, I think, is like it makes me really sad, but it's so good. And just if you're into like emo and shoegaze, indie rock, all of that, highly recommend her music. I think you would enjoy that. But yeah, she's like one of my biggest songwriting influences, especially right now. Um, just really good music. My favorite songs, I think, are The Reason I Could Sleep Forever and Waking Dream. I think that was a song that led me to her music because I think I saw the acoustic version on TikTok, and then I immediately followed her because her music is great. I've said that a lot, so I think I'm going to move on. This next artist I'm going to talk about, uh, in my little town, um, this artist is very well loved by like the artsy kids, myself included, and that artist is Jeff Buckley. And Jeff Buckley, I think, is pretty popular, especially online, but so I don't really think he needs that much explaining. And I got into his music maybe also a year and a half ago. Um, his music makes me really sad, but it's really good. Um, but I stopped listening to Jeff Buckley for a while because I don't like being sad all the time. But I got into his music recently because my friends started listening to Jeff Buckley, and then that kind of led to me and one of my close friends talking to our like 11th grade English teacher about it. Shout out Mr. Blogrand, um, and shout out to Tuna. But I really like Jeff Buckley. I listened to his Grace album the other day, like a day or two ago. It's so good. Like I I want to be like Jeff Buckley, but I don't want to die early. But just I don't know, the guitars sound great. He's an amazing singer, but I don't think that needs to really be said here because so many other people know his music. But if you haven't listened to Jeff Buckley, what are you doing? And I don't think I've talked about Slaughter Beach Dog on this YouTube channel. Correct me if I'm wrong. But I have covered a lot of their songs. I was actually going through my YouTube playlists, and I have a playlist of all the vocal covers that I've done. And there are so many modern baseball and Slaughter Beach Dog covers on there. And I just filmed a Slaughter Beach Dog cover the other day, and that's the video before this one. And Jake Ewald, amazing songwriter, probably one of my biggest inspirations of all time, really. I've been listening to Slaughter Beach Dog for 3 years, 3 or 4 years maybe. Um, but I found them through Modern Baseball because when I was getting into emo music, Modern Baseball is one of the bigger names. So Modern Baseball, Slaughter Beach Dog, I feel like that makes sense. Um, but I really like Slaughter Beach Dog because a lot of those songs are telling this ongoing story. I can't talk, but I think that's really cool, and I wish I could sort of do that, like write characters and tell their stories through song. I just think that's really cool, and I really like all of their albums. But I've recently been listening to their first album. I think it's called Welcome. Yes, it is called Welcome. I just looked it up right now. And their song, okay, I love like all the songs on that album, but I've been really attached to Forever. Um, the guitar riff is really fun to play, and it's in FACGCE tuning. Big fan of that tuning. I really want to use it more in my own work. Um, but there is like a lyric in that song that I think is kind of cool, and it's like near the end where it goes like, "Sleep unsure, dresser drawer filled with XL shirts you wore. I am your excess, your old pride." And I think like I don't know if that was an intentional pun. It sounds like it, but I always thought that was kind of cool when I would listen back on it because I do love me good wordplay. Um, but yeah, Slaughter Beach Dog. I just wanted to interject very quickly and talk about my favorite Slaughter Beach Dog song of all time, and that is Real Annie. It was released on the Dog EP in 2014. Um, I'm pulling this up on Spotify because it's not on Apple Music, and I wish that EP was on Apple Music, and I wish Real Annie was on Apple Music, because I'm an Apple Music user, and I get made fun of all the time for it. But anyway, I really like that song. It's also in like FACGCE tuning. Yes, it is. It is. I just played a half step down. But anyway, I think I've covered that song once or twice. I think I've covered it twice on TikTok, but that song is so good. I love that song so much. And I downloaded it off of Bandcamp and then I like imported it into Apple Music so I could listen to it all the time. Um, But that's like my favorite song, and yeah, listen to it. I they're like my favorite band, like pretty much of all time, I'd say. But I feel like they deserved a little section in one of these talking videos. Yeah. And last but not least, I wanted to talk about Sondre Lerche. He's a Norwegian artist. When I was in 8th grade, I had my whole like Norway phase where I was listening to Boy Pablo and Jimmy Somewhere, and they really like, especially Boy Pablo. Like when I was a fan of Boy Pablo, I was a big fan of Boy Pablo, and whenever he would talk about like his inspirations, I would try to listen, and he would talk about Sondre Lerche and how big of an inspiration he was to him. So I was like, I'll listen to Sondre Lerche. I'll see what it's about. And I think Sondre Lerche's music is what really got me into listening to, I guess, like older music, like not like old music, but like 2000s pop and indie rock and stuff like that. And I don't know, like I feel like a part of me feels like his music, like some of it is like that we are young, like millennial hipster pop, but at the same time, like it's so good. It's like I don't know if it's a guilty pleasure because I'm not really guilty about it, but I love his music. All of his albums, I'm a really big fan of. I've been listening to, um, what's the name of the album? Give me a second. Avatars of Love recently. I've been using that to go to sleep. And my favorite song of his right now is maybe Turns Out I'm Sentimental After All. And good music. And he's also one of my inspirations because I think he kind of got me into playing like classical guitar. Maybe not like classical music as a genre when it comes to guitar, but like getting into like nylon string guitars. Um, I've said guitar a lot in this video, but I also really like his song Easy to Persuade. I think that's on his 2009 album Heartbeat Radio, but there's all sorts of good music. I love his first albums and so much good stuff. There's so much good music out there, and I could go on, but I think this video might be getting a little bit long, so I think I'll end it here. And this concludes the video. Um, I love music. It's why I make music. Topic I'm very passionate about, and I don't think I talk about music as much as I should, even though it's something that I love so much. Like I have people in my life who also really like talking about music, but I don't think it's something we really do enough. So I think that's why I love these videos because not only do my friends get to see them and then we get to discuss music, but also people like you, if we don't know each other. Like I get to talk to just so many different people in so many parts of the world, and that's the thing about music. It like connects so many people, even despite like language barriers. Like half of these artists sing in languages I don't really understand, um, and yeah, there's so much good stuff all over the world. And growing up, I used to get made fun of for not listening to English music. I mean, I did listen to music in English, but for listening to a lot of international music, um, like people very close to me would like make fun of me. And was I a little nerd back then? Yeah, but I still am. But I think I'm more confident in my interests and things like that. So I kind of, it's like a badge of honor, I guess. I don't want to sound like pretentious or whatever, but I don't know. I love music. Hopefully you love music too. And if anyone wants to discuss music with me, email me, DM me on Instagram, whatever, comment section. I'd love to talk. So thank you for watching. Hopefully I'll do some more talking videos eventually. Um, like, comment, subscribe, and hopefully I'll see you around. This has been Things I Like, and I'm Claire, and have a good rest of your day.